This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning, and we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 24th of February, 2020, and I am DM.
I'm Tom.
And I am GK, and in case you missed the headlines, here they are. In the Star, RUTO guard, family to hire detectives.
Yes.
In the Standard, vote-rich counties that could decide Raila-Ruto battle. And in the Daily Nation, making of a breakup.
Yes.
Guys, what's been new?
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I heard you went to Mongolia.
No coronavirus here.
Thankfully.
You're safe. I know that's where you were going.
I had a mask in my pocket.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
So I see nothing's changed in terms of Ruto being in a headline once every so often.
Oh, yes.
So we have a story here in the Star.
Yeah.
Ruto's guard was found dead a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or was it last
Actually,
week?
1 week ago.
A week ago.
Yes.
So Sergeant John Kipyegon Kene was found dead in his house with a single bullet wound through his head.
Right.
And a cartridge found on the left side of his chest.
Yes.
Those surrounding the neighborhood said they heard nothing.
Yeah.
Yet the pistol that was on his chest should have made a very loud sound when it went off.
Absolutely.
So friends failed to make contact with him for about 12 hours. And on reaching his house in Imaradaima, the door was open.
Yes.
And found a suicide note that says, call my cousin Ben. Since then, there have been stories of analysis between that note and the handwriting of his notebooks. And some have said that it did not
It's not
match.
consistent.
It doesn't match, right?
Yeah.
So the Star here is just reporting that the family is unhappy with the police, how the police has taken this so far.
Yeah.
They've been denied access to the body.
Yes.
Denied access to the house as it's an active crime scene.
Yes.
So they want to take matters into their own hands.
Correct.
But here's what we do know so far, right?
Yes.
Kene was on duty on February 13th, the day the former sports cabinet secretary Achasa was meeting
the
supposedly going to meet the deputy president at Harambee.
Correct.
This 39 billion contract, right?
Yeah.
And less than 10 days later, about 6 days later, this man is found dead in his house. Now, Sergeant Kipyegon.
Right.
What we also know is that he failed to show up saying that he was unwell on Wednesday the 19th.
Correct.
But then on Thursday 20th, it is said that there was foul smelling odor coming
from the
his house.
Yeah.
Now, there are things there that don't add up. For instance, if he was missing within a day, a smell usually would emit maybe 2 to 3 days later when decomposition has happened.
Yes.
So that raises a question. The other thing that is curious is there's somebody who was interviewed that said they spoke to Kipyegon and he said things with the Achasa were getting out of hand. This matter.
Okay.
And this friend apparently told him, you should just go and report what you do know. Yeah. And everything will be fine.
Yes. You see, one thing here.
Yes.
I would, this is a cop who works at Annex. If he has instructions to let some people in, why would he be so, why would he feel a little bit uncomfortable about that or threatened? Yeah. But that is not even where I'm going. You see, there's a man called David Mugonyi. David Mugonyi is a communications secretary at the deputy president's office. Yeah. Now, he releases a statement to say that, we were expecting this man, Kipyegon Kene, to write a statement to the DCI. Yes. Now, he notes in that paper, in the statement, that the man did not actually show up to work. Now, I want to ask you this. If I did not show up to work today or in the past 2 days, you guys would try to raise me on my phone. Yes. My phone is not on. You probably go to my house. Yeah. If you don't find me at my house, you go to my mother's house. It is what is naturally and rationally expected.
Are you proposing that they jumped the gun?
I think there's a reason why he wrote that statement.
Yeah, did they say he did not show up to work, that is why they were worried, or he did not show up to the DCI because that's a summons?
You see, this man works at Annex. The first thing, if he's missing, it is not for the reason that he has not written a statement that you'd be looking for him. It is for the reason that he has not showed up to work that you'd be looking for him.
I think whichever way you look at this story, it reeks of foul play. Yeah. It reeks. And the question we ask is, qui bono? Yeah. Who benefits from the we can call it an execution of this man. Is it because the DP is alleged to be involved in the arms case? Is it the DP's camp that would benefit? But then again, on the other side of the coin, is it the detractors of the DP's camp that would benefit in order to frame them?
Yes.
Because I mean, if you were somebody who was involved in a crime, would you shoot that person and it's so obvious that it would be you?
Yes.
Probably not.
You see, I was telling you, and I like the two hypotheses. You see, if I was, if it was someone else who did it, the person who must have done this was a professional. Because number one, if you did it at the actual scene, you probably used a silencer to do it. If you did another scene, you made it seem like it happened at where the body was found. So, I mean, it could be anybody who did this.
Yes. I'm sure we'll get more details in the next
and I think also one of the things that have been pointed out is something to do with the OB report. So there's a report that's dated 27th January, which is way before any of this summons for DCI or anything had come up.
Yes.
Yet the body was actually discovered February 20th.
Yes.
So that's a huge discrepancy in terms of reporting that they also need to sort of make clear.
I'm telling you, we are getting into assassination season.
Well,
that's what I'm seeing.
As Sherlock Holmes would say, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
So what's the truth?
We'll see. Well, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break down the headlines. We ask ourselves, is it topical or speculative? Is it repetitive or groundbreaking? And is it thoughtful or just plain lazy?
Yes.
So I think this is a good headline. It's out of the 3 headlines, it's probably the most topical.
Okay. Oh, yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Then we have the standard. Vote-rich counties that could decide Raila-Ruto battle. What's going on there?
The standard is telling us that the Western Bloc, that is Bungoma, Kakamega, etc., is poised to be the new titan when it comes to vote-rich countries, just like the Rift Valley and Central Kenya. And they're basing this on the new census report, particularly the number of eligible voters that they have done in their analysis, including people who are currently 16 years old now and will be eligible to vote in 2022.
They'll be 18.
They'll be 18 then. Now, I have 2 issues with the reporting. The first one is that the numbers don't add up. I don't understand why Western Kenya has been highlighted because they have 1,026,000 votes more, eligible voters more than they did last time. But so does Central Kenya. So does the Rift Valley. So does Northeastern, in fact, with 1.3 million.
So a lot of them have gone up by the same proportion.
They've gone up by the same. If the same proportion has happened, then that means nothing is changing. But even if they're telling us that there's they're new titans, they're not making historical considerations.
Oh yes.
We know that Western Kenya, going by past elections, have been very low on voter registration. With averages of like 71% compared to Muranga 94%, Nyeri 93%. And other regions. But the second thing also is that they've been very low on voter turnout, going way below the national average of 60%. So if there are many more eligible voters in Western Kenya, they may not register. If they register, they will not vote. If they vote, they will not vote collectively as a bloc.
You are so right. This is a study of human nature. You see, an apple tree today will not give you oranges tomorrow. Now, if you want to know the trends, just go back to how people have voted over the past few elections, and you will probably get an accurate reading of it.
However, what I do like about the standard is it's provoking some thought. It is asking us, will 2022 be won the same way? Is there a chance to appeal to people who have not been the core base of politics?
In fact, the standard is being very cheeky because the headline makes it seem like they know something we don't know, which would attract somebody who's interested in politics to see, so there is a new... they're doing tyranny of numbers.
Listen, the way Gamma Nation is going, they may very well take our tyranny if we don't watch out.
I have a hypothesis here. You see, the game Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga may be playing is what Mwai Kibaki played in 2002. You see, Gema voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. About 60% of Gema voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. 30% voted for Mwai Kibaki. And that was enough to push Mwai Kibaki above Uhuru Kenyatta. You see, my point is this. All Uhuru Kenyatta needs right now is just probably 30% of Gema, and he will cross the line.
We didn't know Uhuru is on the ballot again. What a revelation.
Secrets on the back. Hey, is there something you know that we don't know?
That's why I said it's a hypothesis.
Interesting stuff. So what do we make of the actual headline?
The actual headline is very good and attractive.
Quite bold.
Quite bold.
Okay, so in the Daily Nation, there's a breakup. The bromance has never been concluded upon.
You see, it's largely subjective.
Okay.
At the same time, it is giving us a chronological happening of events that have led people to think that there's a breakup between Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. And most recently was yesterday. And William Ruto actually stood in a church service and he said that reggae can be stopped. You know, the BBI reggae can be stopped. I'm like, wow, this man has such guts.
But the reggae can be stopped if it is divisive.
Yeah,
well,
that's the qualification. He made a qualification.
His qualification. Well,
I've taken you on there.
No. Actually, look, the if for William Ruto is just formality. He's telling his boss, this thing, we will fight you. In my view.
Or somebody else can say the if for the newspapers is just a formality. They want to take the first thing that he said, which is the
which is more saucy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so what do we say? Who gives us our winning headline? Is it between the Daily Nation, Standard, or the Star?
The divorce. Making of a breakup.
I like the Standard. It was very.
So do I. I would go with the Standard because
look at me like that.
Yes, very high jump. Very high jump.
There you have it. We have our winning headline.
Not a deal. Yeah.
From the Standard onto the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country, where we also have a three-part criteria that we use. We ask ourselves, is it humorous or dry? Is it satirical or pessimistic? And is it effective or just plain lazy?
Yes, and Celeste is telling us there's a new handshake in town. And this is our neighbors, South Sudan.
Yeah.
Riek Machar and President Salva Kiir have come to an agreement. And this was signed when? I think it happened on Friday. Can't remember. And yes, now there is a handshake, and let's hope there will be peace, forever lasting peace.
Yeah, I quite like this cartoon. If you notice their ties, one has oil barrels, the other has dollar signs.
Yes.
Which also says that there's a meeting of interest on that level.
Yes.
It is a meeting of interest. In fact, this the stability of this handshake is going to be tested in the next few weeks as they allocate ministerial positions and share it amongst themselves.
Exactly. And already there's an issue because the idea was to revert back to 10 administrative areas as opposed to the 32.
Okay.
So what do you do with the other leadership who lose their jobs and those contested boundaries? But
create
also
CAS positions.
Of course. You can borrow from your Kenyan counterparts. Then there's also this transitional government is supposed to lead them to an election in 3 years.
Yes.
And if you notice, they were leading up to the last election and then everything broke down and we went back into civil war. So hopefully
there's always a fracture point before the ballot.
So let's hope that they make it to the clear mark.
Absolutely.
Okay, we can park that.
Yeah. Here you have
Standard.
Gamzo, and this is a pigeon, I would believe. It's a drawing of a cemetery, and on the cemetery is a tombstone marked historical injustices. And we've got a pigeon landing on the grave of historical injustices, and the pigeon is BBI. Now, I think what Gamzo is trying to do is trying to provoke some thought. You see, I don't know whether you guys watched the Narok thing, and there was so much heated debate on the land issue.
Yes.
And we have so many reports in this country, the Ndungu Land Report, we have so many commissions that have been set up to set a lot of historical injustices. Now, I think what he's trying to ask is, what would BBI do
that is different?
That has not been done before with regard to the commissioning of this report. So,
and I think it's interesting that he's used the motif of a bird because first of all you would expect it to be a different bird, which is a dove that represents peace.
Correct.
And that's what the BBI is expected to do. But it's a pigeon here. And pigeons are known to deposit droppings. So sitting on top of the gravestone saying that they're coming to deface a problem, deface a graveyard.
Normally I don't like this Gamzo guy, but I think
today he has put some thought.
Today he's put some thought.
Okay, so let's park it.
Yeah.
It is in the Daily Nation.
Daily Nation. Iga is, oh my God.
What is this?
Oh. Anyway, let's just describe it. It is, it is a drawing of a court. And you've got the criminal at the dock. You've got the judge who's appearing with someone called the Rich. I don't know, that's a lawyer. And he's the same person making judgment. You know what I'm thinking here? You know what he's talking about, Ida? You know the thing about...
justice is for the rich.
Is it sub judice to say? Okay.
Okay, yeah.
We're saying it.
I don't know whether he's been charged in court yet.
Yes, but there was a certain judge who was found to be cavorting with a certain murder suspect.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think the message here is good. He's telling us, as we usually say, justice is for the rich and the law is for the poor.
Absolutely.
But the cartoon itself is an eyesore.
It's an eyesore.
Yeah, should we toss it?
He didn't have to draw the money, a transparent bag with money. We know it's money. It's not a bag of peanuts.
Toss it. So between South Sudan and BBI?
I like
the BBI.
I like South Sudan.
Okay, so I like South Sudan as well.
High five.
So good job. Which one was it? In the Star. So the Star gives us our winning cartoon.
Absolutely.
What is our final thought?
And now our final thought. It is inspired by a book entitled The Botany of Desire, A Plant's Eye Views of the World by Michael Pollan.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, so Michael Pollan is a writer and professor of journalism at UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
His interest lies in the study of food and plants, it would appear, even though he's a journalist.
Yeah.
And his previous books are In Defense of Food, Food Rules, and The Omnivorous Dilemma. But in this particular book, he's talking about plants, and he's asking the reader, us, to stop considering only the viewpoint of the human being, but also to look at the perspectives of the plant. He says plants may look passive and innocent, but they actually, just like us human beings, they come from a long line of cunning survivors. To propagate themselves. And then he says that humans have 4 basic desires that plants rationally take advantage of in order to survive. The first one is sweetness, the second one is beauty, the third is intoxication, and the fourth one is control. So he says that human plants take advantage of these, and as a result, humans, just like bees, rely on plants just the same way that they rely on us. And so we have gone through the process of evolution with plants. And to prove this point, the author, Michael Pollan, has selected 4 plants that have taken advantage of the human desires of sweetness and intoxication and control and beauty. And these are the tulip, marijuana, apples, and what is the third one? Potatoes. To show control.
Waru.
So in chapter 2, in chapter 2, he focuses on desire, on beauty, and he uses the plant tulip or tulipa, the scientific name. And he hypothesizes that flowers and beauty go hand in hand from as far back as the ancient civilizations. So we know that among the treasures the Egyptians gave their dead were blossoms of flowers, which have now been found in pyramids, still preserved. Like you can still see that they were there. But then he contrasts this with the Jews and early Christians who set themselves against the celebration and use of flowers. And so because they likened it to pagan worship. So it's interesting because now we see weddings, Christian weddings, we see flowers everywhere. Funerals, flowers everywhere. So it's really changed over time. But he says that the love for flowers was universally accepted. And it was universal. Everybody loved flowers, except in Africa.
Why?
Well, you Africans.
Is it in our DNA to reject flowers?
We had no observance for flowers in our religious or social rituals. And the exception was being the Africans who had interacted with civilizations in the northern Africa, the Islamic north. Those are the people who were touched.
So that's why Egypt is an exception, because
so those ones that are up there. And so that Africans seldomly grew domesticated flowers. So like the way you would have your rose garden or something like that, unless there was a promise of fruit. So if it didn't bear fruit, no time for it. And he gives 2 explanations for this. One was economical, and the second one is ecological. So the first one, economical, because people in Africa can't afford to pay attention to flowers until they have enough to eat. So this takes you back to like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I guess. I don't agree with this, but basically that until you satisfy your basic needs, you have no need for frivolous or you know,
yes. Is he talking about Africans in the present day, in the 17th and 16th century?
I think
back then.
Back in the day, Africans.
But maybe what he did not know is flowers were growing naturally around us.
So he goes here. The ecological explanation was that the ecology of Africa didn't offer a lot of flowers, or at least not a lot of showy ones. So it wasn't flowers as we know them, the pretty rose or the pretty orchid. It was probably functional, useful, ugly flowers. And he hypothesizes that we are all born with a predisposition of to flowers anyway.
Yeah.
And this is because the presence of flowers signals or is a reliable predictor of future food.
Yes.
So if you see a flower somewhere and it bore some little fruit, you knew that you could feed yourself.
Yes.
And he says that people who are drawn to flowers could spot them at a distance and would be more successful foragers. And they would beat their competition to food before. So you would get to it before.
Because you made a mental map.
Yes. Yeah. Or you would say the flowers were there last harvest, and maybe in the next one, that's where I'll find them.
The flower becomes a fruit.
Exactly. So it was survival in the fittest in that way. Anyway, later on in the chapter, he connects us to the tulip.
Okay.
So the tulip, most people will know it because in the 17th century in Amsterdam, for a brief perverse moment, the tulip became more precious than gold. Wow. So in business class, you're taught something called tulip mania.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. And it's a story of the first major financial bubble in the 17th century. So the bubble is people start speculating on a certain product never losing value, and you buy that thing and everybody's investing in it, and then all of a sudden
it crashes, busts.
It crashes, and a lot of people went into disrepute. Anyway, so everyone in the Netherlands was involved. Everyone from chimney sweepers to the aristocrats, everybody was now speculating on the tulip bulb and the tulip future. And the future was this promissory note. Okay. So nobody was actually interested in trading tulips. They were just interested in the value and the greed of it. They just wanted the profits. And so he proposes that this was the greater fool theory, that the foolishness of newcomers into the market, i.e. those who never had dealt with tulips before, were just there to speculate and get as much as they could. Much as the same way you would get people speculating on land, yet they don't know much about land, but they know that the value is going up in that area, and so we better get in, right? And he says that Holland became home to an expanding population of greater fools. People were blinded by their desire for instant wealth, but that the truly foolish act in his mind would have been to abstain from trading in the tulip trade. If you didn't do it, you were a fool.
You're a fool, yes.
But then when you did it, you were actually a fool because it eventually
crashed.
So you were in a catch-22. And at the height of the tulip trade, he says, they were mostly drunk because these investments and interactions were happening in the back of taverns, in bars. And so there was a small commission. The buyer had to pay a small commission called the wine money. And that's also what helped speculate it. The drunker you got, the more you speculated on tulips that didn't even exist, and at an even higher price. But nonetheless, he says, the lesson here is the tulip craze, just like the internet bubble, marked the birth of a real business. So the Dutch bulb trade came after the tulip mania craze and has lasted over years. You know, the Dutch are known for their tulips, and that has outlasted. And after the internet bubble burst, we are now living in a digital era. Some of the richest people you know
are actually in the digital space.
So it was a hard read, hard to connect a lot of things. But it was interesting.
My connection is the same in all of them. The tulip was cunning enough to cause a mania that made it propagate itself. Not just in Amsterdam or in Holland, but all across the or Europe.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Amsterdam because that's where I was going.
Thank you.
And you know the plant I am doing is marijuana, bangi. And I actually labeled it the marijuana revolution. So most of the marijuana that was smoked in America in the 1970s actually came from Mexico. Now, a couple of years later, the American government, they went to the Mexicans and told them, because you're supplying us with the most marijuana, you have to get rid of it. So they put planes and they went and sprayed all this marijuana in Mexico and they killed it. Now what that did is the supplies and stock from Mexico stopped flowing to America. Now what that did is it made Americans start growing their own
this is in the 70s, 80s? Is it the Reagan administration and the war against drugs?
Yes. No, I'm actually headed there. Now this forces Americans to start growing their own bangi. Now, there's a species of bangi that was called Cannabis sativa. Now, they would put this bangi to grow in their soils, but this bangi would never grow, especially during cold season, because it would be caused by by frost, and the seed would, it would diminish. Now, it forced the Americans to actually look to Afghanistan under what they used to call the hashish trail. So they went all the way to Afghanistan and got this bangi that were called cannabis indica. Now they went back to America and started growing this bangi, and it flourished. It did so well.
You're so excited.
Yes. Now the Reagan administration and in the war on drugs, they decided to clamp down hardest on bangi. Now American growers felt so bad, but then they heard that there's a country called the Netherlands that was decriminalizing bangi. Now they took this cannabis indica and took it to the Netherlands. Now, what the Dutch had done is they had created cafes, bangi cafes in Amsterdam, that you could smoke this bangi. But they also realized for you to supply these cafes, you needed to actually grow it. Now they went I think to the flower growing areas of Netherlands and decided to grow some of this stuff. Now, the writer says that in the 1990s, Amsterdam was like Paris for a writer, right? Because the world's best bangi growers and consumers converged in Netherlands to smoke this bangi. Now, you would never have killed growing of bangi, even if you used Reagan or the war on drugs or whatever.
They could not stop reggae.
Yes, and they could not stop reggae. Fantastic. And another order had to emerge elsewhere.
Wow. Once again, the cunning of the marijuana plant causing it to be propagated. Yes. I find that the premise of the book is flawed, it's defective. Because if plants are so clever, if I was a rational plant, I wouldn't want to propagate myself or my species in order to be smoked, in order to be eaten, in order to be
plucked and put on a table.
And put on a table.
Yes.
And also, as a Bible-wielding Christian, I think that human beings were put on the earth to dominate it. So the propagation of plants is not out of rational action, but from nature, from reflex.
Absolutely.
There you go. So on a day where we had a winning cartoon from the Star and a winning headline from the Standard. This same author once said that in life, forgetting is very important. Forgetting can be a curse, especially as we age. But forgetting is also one of the more important things healthy brains can do. Almost as important as remembering. Because we receive so much sensory information on a daily basis, and this could overwhelm our consciousness. So we need to forget a lot more than we remember.
Which plant is he referring to here?
No plant. It's very random.
Not marijuana.
Have a great evening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, but find us on GoTV, Hang Free to Air, and StarTimes.